Give me 30 seconds.
It's too late. It's too late. We are already live.
What do you mean? Okay, fine. I'll eat my dinner for 30 seconds.
Eat for the first 30 seconds, and Audie can talk.
That's fine. That's fine. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Top Takes. This is a live video podcast where we talk about the latest and greatest happenings in VGC. And this week we are going to be previewing Baltimore Regionals, the first major tournament of Regulation H, and also recapping the other sort of major tournament, the Victory Road tournament that happened, which is the first real indication of what the metagame is going to look like in Regulation H. So it's a big week for us. I'm really excited to start really diving into this format. And of course, I am joined by my two special guests. My first and foremost, my lovely co-host who is not chugging water. Alex, how you doing?
That's true. I'm ready. I was ready for it. Hi.
And then secondly, we've got my other basically co-host at this point. We got Nails, who is now ready and now hydrated as well. How are you doing?
What's popping, guys? I'm ready to be here. I'm locked in, ready to go.
I think
no distractions.
You know, I in the top takes that we recorded with last week where we had a tier ranking, I was also eating in the intro. So I think it's really just like it has to be a bit at this point. We're all doing it.
Of course.
It's dinner time, right? So, but yeah. So like I said, we are going to be talking about Baltimore Regionals upcoming. But first and foremost, we have some news about the other Regulation H tournament. This one, I think, is a lot more fun than Baltimore personally. It is a best of one grand challenge, not a global challenge, but a grand challenge where you can earn championship points. And we finally got the dates. We knew this was happening sometime in September. But the signups are going to start on Wednesday, and you have to lock in your team when you sign up, as per usual. And you have to sign up before it starts, but it'll start on September 19th. And we know the dates. We kind of assumed this would be the dates because it's the weekend. There's no regional planned in North America or in Europe. But it's good to have confirmation. And of course, here are the instructions for how to actually sign up. This is only going to give championship points to Western players, and players from Japan and Asia are probably not going to compete, or at least they have to change their region to compete. They have nothing on the line for this tournament.
Yeah, will it even let them in, or will they have to change region? That's what I was curious about.
You know, I think we'll find out when the competition period starts.
I guess so.
Or when the sign-up period starts.
I guess that makes sense to me. So this was announced on Thursday last week. So it's nice to finally have the dates. It was a little bit silly that, we're like, we were in the month of September and just like wondering like, well, it could be, we think we know when it's going to be, but it would be nice to know for sure. And then there was that whole like little bit of drama with the error. That was hilarious. They announced it early on in the day, at least for us, like, NA players or whatever. And they were like, all right, guys, the Grand Challenge dates are here. And if you click this link, it'll tell you, the Pokemon Legal match Regulation F. Everyone was like freaking out. A lot of people said it was like legit. They were like, they said in the rules that the formats might not always be the same as the one that's currently being used in tournaments. They said they could do this, and other people were like, yeah, no, like maybe Reg H is not supposed to be for. I don't know. There was all kinds of weird like cope answers just buying into it. No, it was just they just messed up.
I was a fan of the conspiracy theory that they announced it, and then there was so much backlash. Adi released his video, and like there was a bunch of other backlash that they just said, or they like because they didn't announce anything about it, they just changed the list on their site. So I like the conspiracy theory that it was actually due to the backlash.
No, that's a good point to bring up, Nick. Is that they didn't actually like correct. They didn't actually make an announcement that it was wrong or right. They just changed it. They just just silently changed it.
They made absolutely no announcement. You had to click on the link to find out. People were very confused. People were not aware. Even like people in Tub, like we were just like, what is going on? Like, how did it change over and over again? But there was a lot of backlash, including from me. You might have seen this video. It did really well, actually. It was kind of crazy that they did this because this is not the first time they've done this. Notably, they did it in for Players Cup 2 qualifiers was during Series 6, and they accidentally or maybe intentionally made the rule set Series 5. And everyone thought that what happened was they created the tournament on accident with the wrong rule set. And then they couldn't change it, which is why I was skeptical that even if this was an accident, are they going to change it? after they've
Right.
already announced it. And especially since, I was reading like some of the comments that I got, and it's like people were, I don't know, there's a lot of mixed opinions, but a lot of people were just like, oh, like I spent all these resources building my team. Do I have to, build a new team? Stuff like that. And if you announce the rule change too late, and people have already started like putting their resources, their limited team building resources into building a brand new team in Regulation F, making adjustments to the Pokemon, whatnot. I don't know. It's just like, I'm glad they announced it so promptly. I basically said, like, if they don't announce it within 24 hours, I think that they're probably kind of locked in at this point.
Yeah, I think back then this error was announced. Or sorry, when it was like accidentally Series 5 instead of Series 6, which was the Battle Stadium rule set at the time. Um, that this mistake was announced with the tournament signups, and so people were already able to like literally sign up for the tournament, and they didn't want to have to, I guess, delete it to remake the rules. Whereas this is before the signups that they've had this error. So I imagine that once the tournament actually the signups go live, on Wednesday as we were talking about, um, we'll see that it's going to be Regulation H, the correct format. But uh, that is the thing that separates it from now and then. But immediately, as soon as this was happening, Adi, I also was on the same train of thought as you. Is that like if they don't fix it, we might just be stuck with it, and that would be so depressing.
Yeah. And also like they specifically added a caveat in the rule set when they announced grand challenges that they could be different rules than the original ones, which is also like, huh, like I wonder
Yep.
what's going on there. So it was a lot of things that made us a lot of that created a lot of uncertainty. But I am glad they fixed it. I am glad it's Regulation H. I know I've personally basically only been playing best of one this format because this is the first tournament that matters to me in the season. So why would I not
Yep.
prepare for the tournament that genuinely like there's a lot of championship points on the line. There's like let's see if I can find it. Grand Challenge VGC. Um, if there's like I think top 32 gets 120 points or something like that. And then the points for getting first is not actually that much more, but if you get 120 to 170 points, especially if you do it 3 times, that is a big chunk of a potential Worlds invite. And so this tournament really does matter for people chasing a Worlds invite. And people are going to take it seriously, like myself.
Yep.
All right, Adi, since you have kind of looked at the numbers, I know that maybe you ran some initial estimates for the bar and stuff. I'm not asking about that, but I'm curious, what percentage of your Worlds invite do you think comes from the global challenges?
Um,
Like, if you were to sort it into categories from like locals, majors, and then the global challenges being their own category, um, what percentage is it?
25. I think it's 25%, might be 20. It's certainly
Yeah.
not much lower than 20 though.
I had the same estimate. It's about 25% on average. And I think
Mhm.
that if you were 75th and you also really overperform, like are trying to really min max, you could probably even go up to uh, uh, maybe even 30%, 35%. But you would have to really do well in the global
Somewhere around there.
challenges, and you'd probably be towards the very end, the bottom. That's like the maximum. I think that 25% of your world's invite is a lot. That is, I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's big.
you will get more points from the 3 global challenges than you will from all your locals combined potentially is how big it is.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a lot, right? And so, yeah, and again, you can
Mhm.
see the cutoff here. The difference between first and top 32 is very small, and then the difference between second and top 32 is the same as the difference between 33rd and 33rd, 32nd and 33rd, right? Like, so I think that if you're competing for a world's invite, you're really gunning for a top 32 slot, and then after that, it is a pretty marginal difference.
I do think that's kind of fun that we get to have this month by month. Like, I don't know. I mean, some people have different opinions on like, best of one closed team sheet. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. I think regardless, it is cool to have like we've been talking about wanting to have more online elements ever since the Players Cup. Like, I obviously love the in-person tournaments. I wouldn't be playing the game if it wasn't for the in-person tournaments. But I do think it is fun to give more online outlets to play the game. And while we're not seeing like any types of like Players Cup style tournaments, like just having more of these global challenges, having a ton of them, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the online tours. It makes the game more accessible to people who might be really good, but they're not sure if they're really good. And so just being able to say this is a tournament that top level players were trying their best to compete at, and I got third at it. I should try my hand at an IRL tournament. Like that's just a cool thing to have.
Another, yeah,
Uh,
I like that. Another way of entering the game, basically, if you wanted to
yeah.
just try it out.
That is literally how I got into VGC. My first experience, I watched Alex Agloza videos, and I was like, oh, there's this online tournament that's happening, auto ladder tournament. Let me put my, and I think it was one of the gimmick tours too. It was like less time than normal to make your moves, which is great for beginners if you only have 20 seconds to lock in. And so it's like, yeah, just like I'm just gonna build a team, and me and my friends are gonna build a team over the summer during summer vacation, and I did pretty well. I got like top 16 in North America or something like that. This was, again, not even a tournament that gave championship points. So it wasn't even like, in hindsight, not actually an accomplishment, but for at the time, it's a big deal. And I still think that now that you can earn championship points, I at the time, that was 2014, I didn't go to a regional for the 3 years. But now if you suddenly you get top 32 in this, you all of a sudden are actually well on your way to a Worlds invite. You have a little bit of a jump start. All of a sudden, I think this is really going to push some players who maybe were hesitant to go to tournaments to actually start thinking about flying out to regionals and seeing how far they can make it.
Yeah, this is I mean, we'll definitely talk about it more next week as we're leading into it. And talk about, stuff relating to, I guess, best of one and whatnot. I did make a whole video for that too as well, if you want to check that out on Audie's channel. But regardless, I guess that's probably enough about the upcoming Grand Challenge. There's not any other news besides that funny little, rule set thing. So let's go ahead and talk about this September challenge. Everything's a challenge. We've got league challenges, grand challenges, and the September challenge from Victory Road. Thankfully, it doesn't share a acronym with anything else, as far as I'm aware. Victory Road had their September challenge. It got like 350 something players or something in there, 340. It was like a small entry fee, which meant that there was a decent pot on the line. And they ran the official Worlds format, which Victory Road has done for a couple of their online tournaments now, just to like test it out. I know that we're not talking about the Baltimore preview yet, but that is going to be kind of fun to see the first regional with this Worlds format. It's not actually any different, I guess, besides the fact that there's no round one buys, right? I guess Worlds had those round one buys. But yeah, other than that, this was playing Regulation H, and
whoever plays Roger will get around one buy. Other than that,
come on, he couldn't make it here, bro. You can only do that when he's here. But
he
yeah,
wanted to
looking
defend
at it,
himself, he had the chance.
That's true. Actually, lay in. But yeah, it was won by Taro Okada, which, if you don't recognize the name, you should. They actually won the last Victory Road challenge before Worlds.
Which is pretty crazy. To win back-to-back Victory Road tours is really, really impressive. They also made Day 2 Worlds last year. I don't think they attended Worlds this year, from what I could tell. But damn, that's a crazy set of results to have. They made Day 2 Worlds 2022, top 16 Worlds 2023, and then won back-to-back global challenges. I mean, damn, they're the sleeper pick for sure. Definitely one of the best players in the world from what we've seen in the last few years.
Mm-hmm. That is just super, super impressive. And honestly, doing it with a team that's known but not. There was some cool stuff about this, and I think this is what you're going to start to see as we really get into the weeds of Regulation H. So to start, I think this 6, if you ignore the Salamence, which isn't even a top 30 Pokemon if we look at the usage stats, it was one of the most known teams to start the format. Incineroar was usually the Pokemon of choice over that Salamence slot, and sometimes the King Gambit was a golden go. But other than that, people were using basically this composition from the start. And I think just through some minor refinements, Taro has found that this team is comfortable to play, and just gives you a lot of room to beat anything. You've got so many Pokemon that are able to put themselves in the driver's seat whether it's King Gambit with Terra Dark Black Glasses, or Basque Legion in its Choice Band, or Archaludon ramping up on boosts. None of these Pokemon are very ignorable, I think, is one of the things that like really stands out to me about this team is they don't have anything that's that passive besides an Amoonguss, really. Everything else is damage, damage, damage.
Yeah. Um, again,
Yeah,
it's
nothing
just
to add.
I think that I was a little surprised at how normal all the teams were in this tournament. I mean, there's definitely some teams that are going to stand out that we'll talk about. But
Right.
yeah, this team is I mean, let's be real. I think every single person going into this tournament, going into Baltimore regionals, had Rain as their number one priority, number one on their list of Pokemon
Right.
of teams to beat. Everyone knew that Pelipper, Archaludon, Basque Legion, Amoonguss was going to be around. Again, King Gambit and Salamence, although there's definitely some variance in those slots, but
Hmm.
yeah, it just goes to show you this is probably the strongest thing you can be doing in this format. It's going to be one of the most represented teams at Baltimore for sure if
Hmm.
you're getting ready for that tournament. And just with the with some slight innovations in a couple of these slots, I haven't seen like low kick Black Glasses King Gambit before personally.
Right.
Obviously the Salamence is relatively new, and not even running Hurricane on a rain team. You'd think they would be running Hurricane. Yeah, definitely some innovations
Double
here.
Tailwind.
Double Tailwind, yeah, yeah. So some interesting like choices, but it's kind of showing how Rain, even though it's already the most powerful team, is starting to get refined more and more. And yeah, it's just establishing itself in the metagame.
Hmm. The last thing I want to give a quick mention to, because you mentioned a lot of the good ones, like the Air Slash Ments and the Low Kick King Gambit, was just like Snarl Arch, um, opting out of having a Flash Cannon. Is like one of the moves that is, I guess, somewhat situational. Electro Shot is Archaludon's other stab move, or actually its primary stab move. Sorry, um, and everything else is just kind of secondary. And so Snarl helping out with certain other matchups, whether it's like Psy Spam or Blood Moon, just being able to keep certain special attackers at bay, probably made a bit of a difference here because that is like ultimately what you end up focusing on when you see a boring team win is what set it apart from the other boring teams.
Dropping the steel move on both of the steel types is really interesting.
Fairy types are fake. Um, I guess they have. I think the main thing is that Primarina, if that's the fairy type you're concerned with, is getting electroshotted. Whimsicott is a bit of a different one. You would probably enjoy just being able to one shot it so it doesn't ruin your day with like Sunny Day and stuff. But there are at least some other ways to one shot Whimsicott on this team, mainly looking at the flying moves, or Weather Ball if the sun is up. And then the
Clefable
I
is the
guess the
other
other
big one,
fairy
right?
is Clefable, right? Yeah, Clefable, which I feel like might be able to get in the way of this team, but I'm pretty sure they beat some Clefables head to head. So I think it might just be a matter of like, yeah, it's ignoring the electro shots, but it's still taking pretty sizable damage, and a wave crash from Basque Legion will wipe it off the map at any point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, just a good team, definitely a good team, and I've said this a couple times on stream. I'll say it again. Arch Rain, if there's like if this is the standard like team, it still just doesn't bother me because the Pokemon are fun to me. Like these are like, and yeah, they're annoying to play against, of course, but I've like never seen a standard team use like such like fun Pokemon. Like it's something that I could even see myself enjoying. Whereas I usually end up being a special snowflake, like Incineroar or Shifu, put me to sleep. But like clicking Electroshot, Choice Band, Last Respects, Body Press if you get a bunch of stamina boosts. These Pokemon are doing such weird, unique things, and I still enjoy it, even if it is like just a little bit like almost too strong, but it's not Urshifu level strong, so I'm still chilling.
And on top of that, playing against it just has some very clear weaknesses that are exploitable, right? I think I mentioned this last week that yeah, the thing about Rain is that you kind of have to lead the Pelipper. You don't necessarily have to, but like a lot of these mons really rely on Pelipper, and so you can take advantage of that to some extent. You can see that this team is really reliant on getting its speed control up with double tailwind, and so that's another thing that you could take advantage of. The Archaludon really needs to like it does take a turn to get going. It doesn't this Archaludon, especially without Draco Meteor, is really not exerting a lot of pressure toward one, and so you can find. And then Basque Legion is a Pokemon where it's choice banded. It gets locked into a move. Last Respects does have Pokemon that are immune to it, and you can also kind of control Last Respect's power to some extent. And so, if you're a good player playing against this team, obviously a lot of good players lost to it, but you do have some control and you do have some agency and team building and how you game plan for it. And I think that means that it's going to be like a healthy best team in the format.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're telling me is that this team is doomed. Like it's just way too interactive to be the best team. Players are going to be able to find ways to crack it. Uh, Taro's team is not going to make day two at Baltimore. Heard it
Not
here
a single
first.
appearance. Not a single appearance.
You know,
Um,
I think that if you're trying to make day two at Baltimore, this is one team that you can use, and the other team that I think is almost a surefire shot to make day two is the team that Agati used, which is also, it's nothing too special. Again, some slight innovations here. I don't think Dragonite has been very common on Dondozo, but the rest of the mons are.
no,
And
it has. It has.
It
okay,
has.
I had not seen it a ton until after this tournament, and then it's just now just everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, like this is not too crazy a team, but it is so darn consistent. And even though almost every single team that you look at in Top Cut has Dondozo counterplay, it's still just so strong. And Agati it streamed. I think Agati streamed his run. And so
Yeah, he
you can
streamed it.
well, I think he's streaming right now too. Don't go there. Um, but yeah,
See you later.
there's a lot of VODs that you can watch if you want to see how to play the team. But this is another team that it's just so strong. It's not super out there. This one I think is actually a little harder to exploit than Rain is personally.
This is so inspiring. Such an inspiring team to see. I'm happy to see Dondozo doing well in a format like this. It's just like everyone was counting it out and the big dog showed up anyways, or the big fish, I guess. So yeah, good for you, Dozo. Keep doing your thing. And I will say though about Agati's team, he did have the Assault Vest Glamora. That was one thing that definitely like separated from the bunch. The other thing I really want to make a comment about with Agati's team is that you got to go watch the VODs to see it in action. But the number of teams and times that Agati just went no Dozo mode was quite surprising. Just very able to play a four-man approach with just the other non-Dozo guys, and I think also did a solo Tots game as well. But just there's it was a Dozo team definitely, but Agati also just played it like a generic aggressive Tailwind team at times and was able to really make that work for him. Which is also like not easy considering that if you ignore Dozo Tots, not a single protect on the team, So just like super aggressive, super in your face, trying to take KOs every turn, basically.
And I mean, it is so hard to get rid of this Dragonite, right? With multi-scale, with choice band. A lot of people are dropping Intimidate from their team. And so, okay, like Incineroar is really good into this Dragonite where you can Intimidate it, you can fake it out and break multi-scale. Yeah, there's not, like, especially with that lower in usage, I mean, man, like you can't really KO the Dragonite early, so it's always getting these big choice band attacks off, putting your Mons in Dozo range. The Goldengo is obviously probably best Pokemon in the format to Tailwind support. I mean, we know Murkrow Goldengo, Talonflame Goldengo is probably the strongest Tailwind threat in the format in general, and so that also is just going to put everything in range. And then again, like you said, even if they don't want to bring Dondozo, you're doing the thing where you put everything in range of your priority move with Dragonite, which is just one of the strongest things you could be doing in Regulation B, from what I remember, where you just, you click Tailwind, make it raid, and then you put things in range of, I was using Palafin, but whatever priority move you want. And here it is, the same kind of pattern. And so, like, I would not be surprised to see just this Talonflame, Goldengo, Dragonite core do really well, even without the Dondozo. I think the Dozo might actually be almost like team preview bait in some ways. It forces you into awkward choices into what is otherwise a very, very strong aggro team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And by the way, I was being held hostage. I hate Dozo, dude. I really hope that this team just eats ass for the rest of the format.
Good luck with that.
There was there was a day where a couple of my friends that were who are big Dozo fans were like posting builds without Dozo. They're like, maybe we just use the normal parts of the team that aren't Dozo. And I was like, this is Christmas. Like they're all the Dozo fans are dropping Dozo. Like this is as good as it gets. And then Agati went and got second at this tournament, and they're probably just like business as usual, guys. Dozo's back on. Like, come on. Um,
Uh,
so the the team from Fede Campo and Marco Fierro, um, they're the same six, and I never actually checked until now if they had any differences
there's some slight
between them.
differences.
Okay, so they are using some slight differences. Oh, actually, they put them in the same order too, so you can even just click back and forth between them
Yeah.
to find the differences. Um, so definitely, they definitely had to have worked together on it, or got it from the same source. So this team it's weird to say that this might be one of the biggest quote surprises to come out of this tournament, but it was an archetype that didn't seem to be doing too well in other tournaments. This like Incinemungus P2 Luna approach. It's just like the most boring balance that you've seen in plenty of other formats, but finally finding its time to shine in this tournament and almost going all the way. Both of them having very strong runs. Um, but other than that, not a lot to say about it. I mean, we've seen teams like this before.
You want my hot take? I think
Yeah, go ahead.
my hot take is that among the teams in top four, this is the team that's going to flop at Baltimore. I think this team, now that it's on people's radar, is like very, very exploitable. It has, I mean, I just cannot look at a team with 4 fighting weaknesses and think, yeah, this is the play. I was joking with Alex, or I wasn't not even joking. I was saying, man, one Hisui and Decidueye, and all of a sudden you have 5 Pokemon that they all go down to 1 triple arrows. I mean, I obviously the Porygon can live and you can Terra and whatnot, but like, I can't. I see this team and like there are too many exploitable holes for this to be a balanced team that has staying power. That's not to say that people aren't going to run Incinemungus Goldengo for the rest of the format, or Incinemungus Porygon 2 or Saluna for the rest of the format, right? Like, these are all good Pokemon. These are all going to find a home in different teams. I just think this combination of 6 Pokemon was mostly piloted by the fact that you probably had maybe the 2 best players in the entire tournament using it and just using good Pokemon into a field that was very, very uncertain. And as the format develops, I think we're going to see more refined versions of P2 Ursa stuff, but I don't think it's going to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable
I
take.
mean, I can see it. The flex slots are kind of like the Golden Go and Tyranitar. I've seen a couple of Pokemon take the place of those guys. Sometimes it's Komo. Sometimes there's I don't know. Actually, mainly it's like that, or you could maybe try King Gambit on this composition. But yeah, there's a lot of teams. Yeah, Lab Mouse would be the way to actually look into that.
Yeah, no, I love this. This is
Um,
great. I can
mhm.
just search for variants of the team, and yeah. All right, you keep talking. I'm gonna start searching.
Yeah, of course, of course. So um, yeah, it's so funny to say though that this is like the most interesting team to come out of it, because like a lot of these other ones we've been seeing in other limitless tournaments though. The next team that we'll be talking about is like just Clefable, King Gambit, Volcarona. Like it is this like double setup approach that a lot of people have been finding success with. Um, and I know that that one is going to be definitely something people are preparing for Baltimore and preparing to use as well. Um, yeah, Flamigo is definitely the one I was thinking of. Of course, it was of course Flamigo.
You,
No,
hey,
Dragapult makes some sense.
hey, listen. What does this team do against Flamigo too? I mean, I see 6 mons that lose to Flamigo as well.
The team
Yeah, that's true.
has 6 months to lose to Flamingo. It's really funny.
All
Yep.
right, you were talking about
For
the
those,
4th place team. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
oh
So
no,
not so much the specifics of the fourth place team, but like just in general, you can see a couple of teams like it. Like for example, if you go back and look at seventh, seventh is also just Clefable, King Gambit, and Volcarona. Rilla is like the most common fourth after that as well. And yeah, I've seen Dragapult, I've seen Golden Go, I've seen Prim, Sneasler. There's a couple of ways that people. Gengar was the most common one to start with this team, but it's I don't know. There's not a good name for it. If anybody has a good name for this team, I'd be happy to hear it. Somebody's like, I don't know, is that coming through on you guys? Somebody's doing like burnouts in my parking lot. Anyways,
Could hear a little bit, but it's fine.
Oh, got it. Yeah, it's just like Clef, King, Volk. There's no, what is a good name for that? KFC?
Um,
No, it's not an F. It's not an F. The F would be like for fire. That's pretty weak.
What was the no
I'll read it back.
the other fire type had a very slightly different version of the team. But yeah, I think that it's not hard to see why this team is good. It is essentially Clefable is just the best redirector. Clefable and Indeedee, but you obviously don't want Indeedee with Rillaboom. Rillaboom helps all your setup mons stay alive, which is important. And then you just have the best physical setup mon and the best special setup mon in the format. Put next to redirection and fake out and healing, and it's really strong, right? That's kind of all there is. It's not. I think this is a team that we saw basically from day one of this format do well. People kind of identified that this the strong Pokemon. I don't know if Clefable was identified right away, but it didn't take too long for Clefable to really pick up in usage. And then hey, you got the Rillaboom, you got the Fire type. What's the best Water type in the format? It's Primarina, right? And so you see Primarina versus Tauros. I do think Tauros is based. I do think it's really cool. I love the Tauros is seeing usage. But yeah, like
it's fun.
Cool. You put the Water type on the team, and then this team didn't have a fighting type, so you put the fighting type on the team, and this team had the fighting type, so you got a Goldengo instead, right? And so nothing. This is like this team is like the easiest team to build in this format. At least to the initial like parts of it, and to understand like how the parts go together. But at the same time, unlike the last team that I was talking about, I don't think this team is going anywhere. I think that just the Clefable, like you said, the Clefable, Rillaboom, Volk, Kingambit, Water type is just that those 5 mons are going to be really strong for the entire format.
This is the first version of Firewater Grass that's popped out, and Firewater Grass is just always going to be good. Or it's not always going to be good, but it's going to tend to be pretty solid.
Yeah, like Armor Rouge, Hisuian Decidueye, and Basculegion.
Mm-hmm.
Those are mons that have those typings, yes.
I don't see a
Cannot
problem
take that away from them.
Those seem like all good Pokemon to me.
I mean, one of them won the tournament this weekend, so.
True.
Where's
their Firewater Grass, man? I don't think they have fire.
Yeah. I mean, again, like the big thing is like with the other teams, I look at them and I'm like, okay, here is like the exploitable weakness that I think that I would personally look at to target them down if I was going to Baltimore, if I was trying to build a team for Baltimore. With this one, it's just like I don't really know if there's one thing that you can do to stop it. There's one thing you can target down. It's so adaptable too, right? Like they can bring almost any combination of these 6 Pokemon to any matchup and be just totally fine. And so it's also more fair than things like Dondozo and Rain, right? The power ceiling is a little lower. You do have to you get to play Pokemon against this team pretty much no matter what. But yeah, like this is a team that that's why I just think I have to get a staying power at least.
It is, I think, just like the team from Fedicampo and Mercofiro, it is probably about as fair. Both teams are just very fair teams, in my opinion, trying to win by skill def. But yeah, Adi, if you're looking for the common answer that beats that team, it doesn't have a single Astral Barrage immunity. And so, like, I feel like with enough nasty
plots... No, Sucker Punch kills it.
Yeah, it's true.
What are you talking about?
With enough nasty plots, it's just going to run through the whole team, and my Smeargle next to the Calyrex is just going to, like, run. Yeah, you got nothing.
What if I QD up with my Volcarona and I Terra Grass it so your Smeargle can't spore me?
We'll see how much that Astral Barrage does.
I mean, I've also got my Unaware Clefable, and I could even skill swap it onto my Volcarona so I ignore your boosts.
No, that's what I'm here for. Type Swig in the chat. Like, the archetype is begging for a name. Like, there's nothing good. And it's been so annoying to refer to by the 4 Pokemon every time. The people who say that acronyms, like, suck, don't build in text chat often enough. Like, you have to have, like, shorthand names for things, or it just gets really annoying.
I do like KFC. I think KFC is the best one we've got so far.
but that's F for Volcarona.
Okay, but if it wins Louisville Regionals,
Volcarona's a fire. Yeah. Volcarona's a fire type. It's
I said this already, Nick. Yes, but like, I don't like it myself. Fake BG and the E is for electric type, man.
All I'm saying is, if I put a Sour Ledge over the Volcarona, I think the team would still just be fine. So, um, it's
Somebody did that, right?
it's a little different, but yeah, there was a Sour Ledge in top 8 with Electabuzz as the redirector instead, I think. 10th place, excuse me, which we'll get to. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the name. I think that's important. I agree.
It really is just going to be KFC. There's absolutely nothing else.
So
It's just like it's a word soup of consonants, or like a letter soup.
if it
So wait, we have
There's
C
actually nothing
A
there.
V R.
if it
God, there's literally
if it
There's really nothing. It's KFC.
if it wins Louisville regionals, it has to be KFC, right?
That's true.
That's a really good connection. Yeah.
I was gonna say if it wins, like somebody just needs to go win with this, so I can name it after them and just be like, oh, that's that person core, you know, like, to give credit where credit's due. I'm pretty sure some Italian got the ball rolling on this one, but like, Sanvy's here. Post-apocalyptic balance. That name sucks, but also like, what is the name there?
That's longer than just saying the 3 Pokemon.
Italian balance is like
No, because
maybe fine.
Fede Campo team is Italian balance is the problem. This is Italian balance.
Yeah. No, we don't need all the Mons because, like, guys, not like Tauros is technically not all in all of them. Primarina is sometimes there too, and like it's mainly Clef, King Gambit, Volk, and then Rilla is like after that. You can choose to use Rilla or not. I don't really care, but God, it just sucks saying it every time.
And there's also a water type, right? So we got W, we got V, we got K, we got C, and we got R. All right, those are all consonants. We can't do anything with this.
These letters are worth so many points in Scrabble.
By the way, Adi, I don't think they always have. I've seen a Dragapult Glimora version. Like, I think that they don't always use the water. Maybe they're best off using the water, but I don't know if it always has it.
That's true.
Gambit.
I see that Joe also used a lot of the same Pokemon, but didn't use the Volcarona, but still had the King Gambit, Rillaboom, Clef core with the Tauros, which has also had some overlap. And you mentioned Glimora as well. But a different special attacker. I don't hate this either. This one has 0 boasting moves, which is a little different, but the same sort of defensive core at the very least.
Yeah.
Clef Gambit.
No, it's a one setup move. They set up Toxic Debris. That's a setup.
True. Mortal Spin.
Mm-hmm. They set up Skill Swap.
They set up Skill Swap. Yep.
They intimidate your Annihilate. That's the setup move.
Well, no. They Skill Swap Defiant, or no, like they Skill Swap Intimidate, and then get the Defiant boost. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the boosting.
All right. That's okay. I do think Clef Gambit is probably the best thing we're gonna get. I don't know.
Yeah, it's KFC.
It's not satisfying.
Just admit.
It's really not. All right. Let's talk about Tiago's team. Tiago, of course, well known for using weird stuff. Got to second place at Latin American Internets, I think, with some. I don't remember exactly what he was using there, but I just know this guy ladders a lot, and you'll see him on ladder using weird stuff all the time. And this team, not the weirdest team, but that's just because like I feel like every team in this format uses, or not every team in this format, but you're just allowed to use weirder Pokemon, and so some off meta picks don't actually look that strange. But yeah, we see the Wide Lens Mousehold without the Annihilate, and instead with the Stamina Archaludon as the abuser that it can self hit, along with of course just KOing things with Population Bomb. And then we see a Gastrodon, which is not something we've seen a lot of, but in a format where there are a lot of strong water types and there's not a lot of ground types, this Pokemon is also, we were talking about this last week, potentially is going to start to find a home in this metagame. And so yeah, just a couple Pokemon that we haven't seen a ton of so far, but did very, very well here. Archaludon without Rain as well, so no Electroshock, just using Body Press and the fact that it has excellent typing. And Life Orb Volcarona, didn't even notice that. All right, someone else talk about this team. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, I was gonna say the Sash Glamora making another appearance. We saw it on Joe's team, and some like if you were using Glamora in this tournament, you should have just not used Power Herb apparently, because a lot of the best finishing Volcaronas, or not Volcaronas, Glamoras. I think the top 3 Glamoras were all non-Power Herb. There was AV from Agati and Sash from Joe and Vova Max Ben 10 here. So yeah, I think, let's see, Santino believes in tradition. running the power herb there. But yeah, kind of crazy to me that so many people kind of going down that path and saying that this is still a good Pokemon, but relying a bit more on its like consistent coverage. Having a one-off rock move can sometimes not cut it if you need to hit Volcarona later after it switches out, or a Incineroar that dodged your Meat Beam or something. You'd much rather be able to just kind of have consistent damage. This Pokemon is the closest equivalent to Landorus, Landorus Incarnate from previous formats, where it's got like the poison ground coverage. It can be a good balance breaker because of that, and then it just has a really cool ability to boot. And I'm a big fan of Mouse too. But we already talked about Gastrodon, and I think that one's like solid. But Mouse, I think Pop Bomb Mouse, just like pretty underrated right now. If you can find the right spots for it.
Yeah. I
This
guess
game's kind of funky.
right. It looks pretty
Like,
normal, but it is a little funky.
like the lack of terrain resets for the Gambit is a little odd. Um, Psychic
Sure.
Terrain looks annoying, but maybe you just say that against MDD you're just gonna pop bomb through it and take your lead. I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
Sammy said that he got 4-0'd by this twice. What was getting you? Like, was it just the mouse? Did the mouse run you over? That's like the only thing I can see making the game go very quickly.
Yeah, it has to be the mouse.
Right? That's the only thing that like just destroys. Sanvy's team is somewhere in here, or maybe Sanvy made it to day 2. Yeah, 24th. I like Sanvy's team honestly a lot. It was being shown a bit on ladder, so if you're like privy of high ladder, if you're like in the know of like high ladder tech, then you would know that like some people have been running a spec Salamence, and honestly, this is the only other Salamence appearance besides the winner team. So not the same set, but Salament's still showing that it's a Pokemon that can succeed in this format.
Yeah. People will do anything for an Intimidate user, right? There's like 37 different Intimidate users you can use. We've seen a bunch of them, and Salaman's up there for sure. Just I mean, Dragonfly is great typing. Flying coverage is really good right now. We don't have a ton of it, so yeah, no, that combination is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. I know that we're jumping around a bit, but we can go back up to talk about I think the last team in the top 8, which was from Michael Nash. We kind of lumped some other teams together, but Spam still doing it. Somebody had to. One person had to, right?
Mm-hmm. This is.
It was the American.
I mean, listen. There's
Nick,
like 8 Pokemon I see on Spam,
so
and these are the 6th. I don't know. Like every Spam team looks the same to me.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. Like, I think Spam, to give it credit, is in a way it has a lot of stuff like the team that won, where there are like minor changes you can make to express how you want the team to play and to flex into different matchups. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there are going to be a lot of consistencies. Like, see, Adi, you're saying all of them look the same, but then this is like Terra Steel, Terra Blast, and DD. Like, what are they cooking?
I get that, right? Like you don't Terra it very often, but you can, and Terra Blast is just a stab move, right? So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. What is the steal for though? What is that hit?
I mean, it's probably just defensive typing. Maybe they want to hit DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know.
I mean,
But other than that, the rest of it is just like standard stuff.
Is Meteor
The
Beam
Arboroost
Arma?
with Meat Beam is
Go ahead.
that's a little bit different now. Usually people are running one of Hat or Armor, but if they go this route, then yeah, it makes sense to try out Meteor Beam. You can maybe run some speed on it to have a bit of a non-trick room approach, and they've got the Lilligant, but sometimes people run Zoroark or Annihilate or whatever. Where ultimately, at the end of the day, they're here to click one button, Expanding Force, and to figure out what you're doing to stop them from clicking Expanding Force, and then kill that thing so they can go back to clicking Expanding Force.
That's a great.
Yeah, I agree though, Sandy. I think Glade is sorely missed on this composition. Even if you have Lilligant, I think Galade is just too good on the team to not run.
I also agree.
Galade is crazy, dude. Like, if you're running the traditional Terra Grass Archaludon, you think, like, yeah, my Arch has a high defense stat. I'm going to Terra Grass so that the Sacred Sword doesn't hurt. And then it's still cleanly 2-hit KOs. And if you didn't Terra, yeah, you got 1-hit KO. Like, ow. Galade hurts.
You do
He
get
doesn't even,
popped.
he doesn't even run a boosting item. He runs Clear Amulet. Like, guy's insane. But yeah, other than that, this was, like we talked about before, running the same style as Worlds. So it looks like they got a top 18 cut after everything was said and done for same record as 8th place kind of situation. And that should have meant that the bottom 4 in the top 18 had to play a play-in game to make it to top 16. And so I'm guessing that means that Alex, VGC, and Joan probably lost theirs, and I can't exactly say who else went on from there. The top 16 bracket picture, I guess, kind of paints the rest of the picture.
It was in fact Santino and Haruka were the losers or the winners of that round, and they immediately lost in top 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that works out then. That's pretty easy to follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
then
so notably,
we're both running Dozo, so good. Honestly, good.
Yeah, well, notably, Sanvi mentioned that he played Vovo twice, which is different from the Worlds format, right? You can't play the same person in day 2 after you play them in day 1, I believe. And so that is a little strange, but
No, he didn't. No.
He got 4-0'd twice. He just got
okay.
He didn't take a kill in either game.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and so
Just fine. Happens to everybody.
That happened, yeah. I think the other notable thing is that this is a much smaller tournament than most regionals are going to be. I think Baltimore is probably going to be double the size, right? And so we are going to see a bigger top cut than 18 players. But yeah, generally speaking, there's going to be a few people with buys and a top 32-ish cut, or a top 32 round in cut, and that part is pretty normal. So yeah, in this case, we only see top 8 pricing instead of top 16 pricing, which as we're going to see at regionals. But yeah, it's gonna be some people who are going to top cut and not get any pricing at regionals, which is it's gonna suck for them.
Yeah,
sure will.
But yeah, let's talk about some of the other teams in top cut, because there were some other teams that didn't quite make some money, but definitely had some really interesting ideas. And I guess we can just start at 9th, because this is also a team that we haven't really seen. We haven't really gotten to talked about, but Dragapult, Choice Band Dragapult is a menace in this format. We definitely touched on that in the tier list. We saw Whimsicott, which is also a menace in this format. We haven't seen any of that yet. Farigiraf, I think, is a little less good, and Blood Moon is a Pokemon that actually Blood Moon is quite good as well. But Farigiraf's a Pokemon that I think both of us kind of slept on, and it did very well here. Yeah, it's Citrus. Why not? But yeah, just some Pokemon that we that I think we all expected to do quite well, and maybe underachieved a little bit, but we do see them here in 9th place, right? Yeah.
This person really misses Reg G. I swear to God, like this is just like the most Reg G. I also tried to make this team at the beginning of the format too, with Giraffe, Blood Moon, Dragapult, but like they really miss their Miraidon, dude. They want Miraidon so badly, but they're stuck with Dragapult being the only fast dragon left. They got the Fari Blood Moon and Whimsicott. I don't know. It's just amusing to me how much this looks like a Reg G type approach. You don't get Iron Hands anymore, so back to AV and Sin we go. Yeah. Other than that, though, it seems like
why it won't work for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sanvi has the right take, which is that Blood Moon is a restricted Pokemon in a base 270 average format. Which, I mean, at our Nats team, we were talking about how Blood Moon was the second restricted, and now here it is. It really is a restricted Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah. FA Con, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream.
I always saw that name and thought it was supposed to be Falcon, but maybe I'm not.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Like it's like an underscore. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, thank you so much. I think the difference between Blood Moon then and now, even though like classically it is a ground type and has earth power to hit those the steel types. Steel types are a lot more usable now, so like there are ways to deal with Blood Moon a bit more directly now. Steel types, I just was there any good steel types in Reg G? I think not a one. Um, kind of funny, kind of insane. But yeah, and yeah, I guess that's another good point. Sammy mentions is that it's now much more able to outspeed things with speed control still or without it. I guess, but like Tailwind, like it can just outspeed the whole format instead of like the speed booster, Fluttermane or bundle still outspeeding it. Speed dynamics are just so different in this format. I do like that a lot, by the way. That like we're just kind of centered around like high 80s or like 100, which 100 has always like been the bar for like something faster than 100 is considered fast. Um, I'm so happy that we're back there. I know Dragapult far exceeds it and is the fastest guy by a mile, but like I don't know. I feel like the speed dynamics are a lot like more enjoyable in this format than what we've had in a lot of the other ones. Don't get me wrong, like booster speed Icy Wind was like a cool way to like play the game sometimes, but I don't miss it much.
Oh God, no. Also, there was one steel type in last format. I just found out. I forgot about it too. It was Zamazenta. Remember that guy?
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, I don't mind Dragapult being the speed ceiling because as far as everything else is far lower than that, that's like totally cool, right? Like that. It's a very strong Pokemon, but again, it's not like overpowering. And then the like really fast mons being in the like Mousehold being like 111 and like 110 mons and Sneasler, like those guys, I'm okay with those guys being the fast mons. That's very healthy, I think.
Hmm.
Sneasler's not 110, is it? It's like
It's
faster.
faster.
It's faster. I
Mm-hmm.
I think that
120.
120. For in my head, I see Mousehold as the fast mon, right? And then if you can outspeed Mousehold, then you're usually in a good spot. But yeah, even then, there's this huge chunk of Pokemon in that middle range, in the 80 to 100 range. And you have to like speed tiers in this format are going to be really interesting because you can choose to speed creep a lot of those guys, or you could choose to be just eschew that fight altogether. And I think it's very similar to the dynamic that we saw in parts of Regulation C, where there was a lot of like Arcanine and a lot of Palafin and Pokemon trying to win those speed wars. But obviously, that is very different when you have a Fluttermane in the format. Dragapult is not quite the same threat. So, yeah. Oh, and the other thing I want to talk about with this team. Sorry, I'm going to change the topic. Is the AV Incineroar, which is not something we've seen I think yet in this team, but I think that's something that people have not been using in a long time, but I think is very strong. And is the classic Incineroar set that we got used to seeing back in Gen 7. And so, yeah, I think this is a Pokemon that we're going to see more of as people try to figure out how do I actually fit Incineroar onto my teams. Obviously, Incineroar is still very strong, but doesn't quite fit as cleanly into the format as it used to. And so it's cool to see people doing other things with it that are a little more experimental and doing well with them.
I've been saying it for a little bit, but I feel like Incin just needs to be like an offense guy. Like, I don't know. You can get it needs to be your team's fire type, and a lot of people just want it to be their team's intimidate parting shot bot. I really want it to be my team's fire type. If I was using Incineroar, I would be using it to like run like some decent juice on it and to like try to actually be clicking Flare Blitz for damage, and mainly using the fact that it's got a good typing for switching into attacks. Like it resists Make It Rain and Expanding Force and Heat Wave, so very
Yeah, it
good
resists everything that Gambit and Goldingo can throw at it, besides low kick. So,
yeah. And
like
Focus
actually
Blast.
get the mileage out of that typing. It's not bad.
Exactly. Put some investment on that. Make that Flare Blitz do some damage.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I can support Adamant or Brave Incineroar definitely. I think that's like the right way to do it. But I don't know. We're seeing Incin still do fine for itself. I'm a big Incin hater in the format, but like obviously Fede and Marco's team shows that you can still run the traditional Incin and do fine with it. There was also a team in 13th running a very similar team to Marco and them that was actually an Assault Vest one. So still kind of like good to know. But yeah, I think that's actually it for the Incins in terms of day 2. Then you'd have to go down to the ones that. Sorry, not day 2.
Top.
Top.
Yeah. Um, that's yeah. And I guess so. Moving on to the next team. This is maybe my favorite team in the tournament. I was joking. I was telling Alex this is actually like all my favorite Pokemon in the format. I definitely want to try this team out. Because you got the Electabuzz, the fan favorite. you got the Sneasler. I love Sneasler. Ceruledge is a Pokemon I used back in Reg D or E or something, and I had a lot of fun with it. And everyone loves King Gambit, right? And so yeah, just like I think this team is super cool. It's a lot of the Pokemon that I want to try out using. And it's got some very interesting sets, some sets that I wouldn't expect. So we see the Grassy Seed Ceruledge with Bulk Up. So really, really hedging against like physical attackers with this set. Getting the +1 defense boost and also getting to boost even further. So I guess some physically oriented teams are really going to struggle against the Ceruledge, especially if they're reliant on ground type coverage to beat it. You got Terra Grass as well. You got coaching on Sneasler. So just a lot of ways to really mess up physical attackers, it seems like. And then, you got the double setup or triple setup, really, with Swords Dance, coaching, and Bulk Up on top of what I think is one of the better Follow Me users in the format in Electabuzz that not only can redirect attacks, but also can use Taunt and Electroweb to put your King Gambit and your Ceruledge in a really strong position to sweep games. And on top of all of that, you've got the classic Fire, Water, Grass core that is just oh so powerful. With two of the three of the best Ceruledge probably not the best fire type in the format. There's a lot of good fire types in this format, but the other two are certainly the two best Pokemon of their typing. And so, yeah, this team very, very strong and a lot of cool Pokemon that I'm excited to try out.
Most importantly, they have a vowel on their team. Electabuzz starts with E, so we can finally make it acronyms. 'Cause that is the only way to
Yes.
name teams.
Yep. We've got like
We got
Creps. I don't
We can
know.
go
Rex. We got so the thing is we got CK as well, which is awesome. We got an S at the end, so it's really easy and it's really easy to end this too.
We can make Prax. It's true.
So the Ceruledge, I the only like main note I have about that guy is that Flash Fire is really catching on right now. Just like having Flash Fire on teams is like a really good way to deal with Typhlosion and Torkoal, I guess, to an extent as well. On top of this mon, also walling Volk pretty easily pre and post Terra. They usually don't run bug move. Typically it's Giga Drain right now. And that's going to mean Ceruledge is just kind of be able to sit across the field from it without worrying at all. And then, Flash Fire. The thing about Eruption is that you don't really resist it a lot of the times. I had a coaching session earlier today where we went for Sunny Day Eruption just with Whimsicott, and the AV T-Tar switched in, its weather got turned off, and it took half from the Eruption. And I'm just like, yeah, this is not a fire resist. This is tough. So yeah, I feel like having actual immunities or good game plans into the overwhelming eruption fire damage type stuff can be really good. And then I Electabuzz is proving to be more than just like our little guy that we loved in Reg G Audi. Like this guy is like just a solid Pokemon in the metagame, and it's so cool to see. I don't actually know if it made. I think it probably did make top 30 in usage. Yeah, it's down there at 22. Had quite a few appearances, and like it's just a really good Pokemon with a lot of viable moves on it that it can be fitting on a lot of different types of teams, and it can solve exactly the problem you're looking for. Redirection, but also more than that. And in a format that's somewhat starved for electric types, I'm pretty happy to see Electabuzz doing so well for itself.
He's all grown up.
It's so awesome. Except he's not all grown up, Nick. He's in fact, that's a big part of his thing is that he's not all grown up.
So
Oh, my mistake. I don't know.
with respect to
if he didn't get to run Eviolite, I feel like he might not be as good.
I mean, maybe still better than Electivire.
True.
So with respect to Ceruledge, one other thing that I just thought of that is also really cool about it is that all those Volk King Gambit teams, Volk can't touch this guy. Like Volk really does nothing to Ceruledge. If you boost your defenses, you get the Grassy Seed, you get a bulk up off or a coaching off. All of a sudden, King Gambit's going to really struggle to hit it too, and you're going to Bitter Blade it for a lot. And so, and you're going to get all that damage, that healing right back with the Bitter Blade. And so, obviously, like the defense boosts are going to be ignored by the attack boosts are going to be ignored by the Clefable that's on the team. But if you can power through the Clefable, then I think that Ceruledge also does really, really well into those type of cores, which is another reason to run it. But I also want to highlight the team that Justin Karras used, and also I think got top 16 with, because this team is very similar. It uses a different fire type setup mod in Volcarona over the Sour Ledge, and it uses a Dragapult over the King Gambit as well. But you can kind of see how the roles kind of slot in a similar way, where you have the setup mod and you have more of like a heavy hitter in the other slot, but a physical attacker nonetheless, and a fire type setup mod. And so, yeah, I think that this is also a very similar team compositionally, even though there's a couple of Pokemon differently, and shows you the strength of Electabuzz, even though it's the same Electabuzz set. Electabuzz, Primarina, Rillaboom, Sneasler does seem like a very strong core to build around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this team is it's cool. It's just cool. I mean, like, I don't know. Sneasler is another Pokemon that we haven't talked at length about at this point, but it is a Pokemon that is on the rise, and um it's like annoying. By the way, more points for Electabuzz for being a good Sneasler counter, because Dire Claw cannot para or sleep you. And those are the most annoying ones. So let's go Electabuzz. But yeah, Sneasler being this like fast fighting type that hits really hard. It's got a 130 attack stat. It is no joke. And you know, if you just, it's not a Pokemon that you can switch in very comfortably on. Like, let's say you're just deciding, yeah, like, I know that they're going to Dire Claw my Primarina. Let's switch out to Incineroar to Intimidate it, or, you know, Tauros or Salamence. And it's like, I got off that Intimidate, and I switched it on the Dire Claw, and I got slept. Now this Pokemon has 0 turns awake on the field, and is almost, I would almost rather it be dead. You know? Like, now it is like I have a inactive slot on the field instead of having a Pokemon at all, and that is just a 16% chance to like lose the game almost with how good it is at stealing momentum with Dire Claw.
Mm-hmm. You switch in your Ghost type, like your Dragapult, and it gets paralyzed, and you're like, this is not a Pokemon anymore, right? It lost the best attribute that it has, stuff like that. And then also again with Primarina, Rillaboom, Volcarona being one of the most common cores, obviously protected by redirection and whatnot, but Dire Claw is really, really good into all three of these guys, which makes it such a potent threat in the metagame as well. So yeah, no, this guy, oh man, Sneasler is definitely, I think maybe one of the best Pokemon in the format for sure. Also notably, we see one of these using Focus Sash Unburden, and the other one using Focus Sash Poison Touch, and so two viable abilities as well. And it doesn't have like, there's a Rillaboom on the team. It could just be Grassy Seed, right? Like it's got a lot of options to go to as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also pressure if you really want to like stall your opponent out of
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going, we'll get there. Make it rains.
Come back to me. Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah, because like if you revival blessing it with Palma.
Well, no, you protect on the Make It Rain, then you get knocked to Sash on the Make It Rain, then you protect on the next one, then they Make It Rain for the kill, and then they can't click any steel moves for the rest of the game.
I've told the story about how I won a set by by using Palkia to stall a Calyrex out of Astral Barrage, right? So
What's Palkia? Never heard that one.
So this is actually a completely different Pokemon, but it just made me realize that, you know, talking about the GC coming up, like I do think Frisk is going to be the better ability on Typhlosion. Blaze like does come up occasionally, but like Frisk is so awesome in closed team sheet, so that's gonna be really cool.
Sure.
What's a Typhlosion? I don't see a Typhlosion. Oh, it's that Wolfie Pokemon.
That's true. Actually, Wolf invented this Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, whether or not, like, no matter how you view Wolf's finish, you got to talk about the team because of how common it will be on ladder. And so, I think Wolf's team is not actually that innovative. The main notes I can mention about it is that, you know, he's running Typhlosion Whim, like a lot of people have been seeing with Blood Moon as well, just kind of your standard Tailwind offense. But he, you know, refuses to give up on Giraffe. Wolf is a diehard Giraffe fan, and whether the mon is good or not, he's going to be running it. He's just kind of convinced that it's the best thing. I mean, he brought it to both worlds. It was legal, right? I think he brought it in this year as well, right?
Yeah, but you know, one of those worlds was Sap Sipper, which so
Yeah, I know. I think that just kind of shows how much faith he has in the Mon.
And he's
Uh,
bringing Kudzu next year.
he's got Kunshu lined up. He burned his good year on Reg G, his good ability on Reg G. Now he has to bring Kunshu to the Reg I
Yep.
worlds. Unfortunate.
Oh man.
Um,
Okay, what's the man? Why you have a covert cloak Pokemon and two ghost types? I do not see the vision. And then like Clefairy just says, please, please, please click fake out onto me. I will click helping hand. Uh,
it's not for fake out, by the way, Audie. It's for Sucker Punch from King Gambit. You want to be able
Hmm.
to click Eruption
I get
as much
yeah,
as you can.
sure.
So I'm not saying the Mon is completely pointless on the team. I usually prefer Indeedee in Giraffe's place almost every time currently. And that's just because Giraffe just like, I don't know, eats up space on the field. But it really depends on how you play it. Throat Spray can sometimes do damage.
You know,
Yeah,
Um,
but if he uses Indeedee, then he can't use his priority moves that he has on the team.
hmm
Like
hmm
like Helping Hand.
like helping hand.
Um,
I, I, I am a Farigiraf hater. I think a couple of us are. So yeah, but notably, Wolf lost to the eventual winner in the win and in. So no shade with that for sure. And also it speaks to the schedule that Taro had to play to actually win the tournament as well. But yeah, I can totally see the Typhlosion Eruption team struggling a little bit with rain. That does kind of make sense.
very interesting to see that Wolf hasn't evolved his Clefairy yet. Everybody else got the memo, and Wolf is still running Eviolite Clefable.
yep, kind of true. Um, yeah, Unaware is just so nice into all these like setup attackers. I don't know. Clefable, the common mons in this format are some of the like top mons are just like so like fun to me. Like it's just cool that we have like Clefable as a strong guy. Right below it, Tauros seeing a lot of use. Electabuzz being good. Sneasler is a Pokemon that hasn't had a lot of chance to shine in VGC. So Basket Legion at 11th. Wow. Like I don't know. Just looking at the usage stats, like I don't know. I haven't gotten tired of this format yet, and I know that we are going into our first major. I'm not even playing at it, but regardless, it's just such a breath of fresh air from like what we've been playing.
So much of my rant that I left the rant up about Urshifu, and I really do think that Urshifu has ruined basically every format that's been a part of. But like, oh my god, I had the rant just because this format has been so much fun to play. This is the feels like the first time I've been having fun playing VGC in like a year, man. Please don't take it away from me. I've been, it's a really fun format. It's a fun
Did
format.
you see the announcement meme for today's stream? They are going to be taking it away from you. They've actually announced the death of this format, dude. They confirmed it the day they announced it. They said, "Here is when the format is alive, and here is when it is dead." It is
Uh,
so depressing, man.
Man, maybe we can get it back for Worlds. Maybe please.
Right,
There's so
right.
much cool stuff. There's just so many things I want to team build around too. It's just like I need more than 3 months of this, 4 months of this format.
Yeah,
Speaking of
so
things
true.
I want to team build around, I guess we can skip down a few places because this is the coolest team in Top Cut of this tournament. It sadly did lose the top 32 round, but it's the Driftlib and DD team. That I mean, y'all know me. I like 5 different people have sent me this team. I have seen this team. It is I do love Drifloon and DD. It is one of my favorite combos from way back in 2020. This is not how I had thought to build it when I tested it out. But I was really struggling with it. So I think it's a cool take. I think Power Herb Glamora is really cool on it as like a nuke, and I think that's what you're really looking for on this team is you want to set up Tailwind as they take a KO, and then just have hitters that can take advantage of 3 turns of Tailwind. And so yeah, the Glamora is really cool on this team. Weevil, not a Pokemon, or Weavile, not a Pokemon that we've seen really this format at all, kind of taking a backseat to its poison type brethren. But yeah, it's also cool to see the triple axle Weavile. I don't really know what triple axle. I guess that's the best ice move. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
a
I
believer
mean
in Weavile.
it goes through sashes. It kills Sneasler through sash and
That's
outspeeds it.
that's true. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah. Just a cool team overall. I see the vision. I don't know. I am still skeptical of Indeedee Drifloom as a concept in this format, but it is really cool to see it do well.
Well, that's because Adi wants to be clicking hypnosis. Anyways, I think Specs in DD Mail is cool because it is the all-in-one package. Like you don't have to have NDD plus an expanding force user. It is just going to click expanding force at an excellent speed tier. It's like hits like 161 speed, so it's going to outspeed all of the relevant steel types. And while it's not hitting those like those arches and Glamoras, sorry, not the it definitely hits Glamora for a lot of damage. Arch and Golden goes for a lot of damage. It's the kind of like chip that a team would appreciate, so that Glamora can finish them off with an Earth Power or something else can finish the job. Regardless, it is just like so much power. It just does so much damage. And I've never seen the specs damage. I'm usually seeing it just doing damage with like sash and being like, dang, this guy hits pretty hard. This is like taking it to another level. Don't let it get hit though, because this mod has no defenses on either side whatsoever.
I mean, again, that's the point, is that if you're KOing the Indeedee while the Driflo's on the field, and I didn't click Tailwind last turn, I get to click Tailwind this turn, and I get to put my Glamoro in the speed ceiling and Meteor Beam Meteor, right? Like, it's really not all that bad to lose the Indeedee if it gets an attack off, which is, like, part of the fun part of this team, is you don't really care if your Pokemon survive. You just have another thing to throw at them. But, yeah, I guess, Nails, any highlight teams that you wanted to talk about from Top Cut or Day 2 of this tournament?
So one thing I wanted to point out, just from scrolling through, is that everybody is either like very aggressive team, like Dozo, or they have a redirection mon. There are very few exceptions to the top performing teams all have redirection,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is, I mean, it's not that unusual since Ogerpon has come out, but there's like a Clefable or an Indeedee or an Amoonguss. I
Come
assume that
on,
the
say
Vivillon.
his name, Nick. Say his name. Come on, he's also there too.
Which guy? Oh, Buzz. Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
guy's cool.
dude. Come on.
I mean, and
Come on.
Mousehold, we see a Smeargle in Top Cut. Like, they really do all have, every single team except for the Dozo has redirection, and I guess the 18th place team does not have it either.
On the topic of mouse, though, somebody did just mention in chat, Mike. Good pointing it out, because yeah, I talked about this with some friends, but I forgot to mention it here now. Is that mouse ape is just completely absent. There's some ape, there's some mouse. There's even beat up plus ape. Like Wolf's team featured that, but yeah, there's no actual mouse ape. They that archetype just couldn't do it. There's been a couple of teams featuring stuff like that, but I mean, I guess they just did worse than 6-3. We just don't even get to know if. And I mean, to be fair, if they're doing worse than 6-3, you got to start to question the strength of it. Like is it worth looking at an archetype like that can't even have one appearance in the top 40, 50-ish teams, basically. Um, yeah, I
It's not
mean,
that it
it's not
wasn't
something
used. Yeah, like 10% of the field was Mousehold,
yeah.
and only two of them made it through, and neither was doing beat up stuff.
Yep. They were actually
Mhm.
pretty even in usage percentage, one apart in terms of like total day one usage between mouse and ape. So surely there were some people using them together and just not able to cut it. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's not something that at this point I would be ready to completely disregard in my building, but my personal take on mouse ape is that counterplay can be found everywhere. And like Nick just mentioned, that every like there's so many redirections. Like a mousehold was used to a mouse ape was doing well in a format where mouse could throw on safety goggles, ignore a Moongus, and call it a day. There's a lot of follow me in this format, and if they're clicking follow me, you don't get to click beat up for that turn, and there's a lot more viable normal types now too, like both of the Ursa Lunas that um, I know that Annihilate can click a fighting move to hit those super effectively, but at the end of the day, that's not what Rage Fist is doing. It's not the broken thing that this mon can do. So is
Mhm.
it worth building around? It's such a linear strategy. I think a lot of people are saying it's just like not something that's worth the time.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the conversion rates for these Pokemon, Mousehold had the single worst conversion rate from what I can tell. It really was the biggest underperformer of this tournament, from what, at least in the top 30 Pokemon in usage. So yeah, it really just Annihilate did okay. I think a lot of the people that brought Annihilate with Mousehold obviously underachieved, but there was a lot of Annihilate that made day 2 that did pretty decent on other types of teams. We saw Wolf. We see this one on a Rain team down here. You can scroll through the list and see a lot of the other ones, but yeah, it really is. It feels like Mousehold was maybe just not the call, especially like you said. A lot of redirectors in the format really don't mind taking hits from Mousehold and kind of ignoring it. So.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about conversion rates, let me tell you the takeaway from this tournament is get yourself a poison type. All 3
Mm.
poison types we see in top 30 popped off.
So Shroom is falling into this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a poison type.
It's a
And so are
poison type.
Glimora
Yeah.
and Sneasler.
Okay. Okay.
Like those were 3 of the biggest winners, and they all have that in common. So I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't highlight it.
That's fair. No, that's a really good thing to point out. Um, Somebody mentioned the Hisuian Samurott team. I've seen a couple of Italians using that. So, Sandy, if you're here and could explain that, I would love to know. Pato, the one using Samurott Hisui this time in 21st. What is the actual set on it?
It is Focus
Adi,
Sash
you were
with
the
3
one that
attack.
wanted to look at them on, right?
Yeah, okay.
You were the
So
one that were interested.
here's my argument for Samurott, because I had it in my list of interesting Pokemon that I wanted to build around. Is that water fighting dark coverage is theoretically really, really good into Rain, because you have Sharpness Sacred Sword to hit Archaludon, you have a water type move to get the boost from Rain, and you have dark moves that can KO Basculegion, and you actually resist all of Basculegion's attacks. So in theory, it is a all-in-one package to beat Rain. In practice, you run some damage calc, so you find out it does not actually do enough damage. And that was my main issue with it. Is you talk about Gallade, you really need Stab on Sacred Sword, from my experience, to actually to do enough with Sacred Sword to make it a move that you want to click. And while Ceaseless Edge and Aqua Cutter are good moves, and Sucker Punch is also a good move, yeah, it's just not. It doesn't quite have enough. Its stats aren't allocated well enough. You got to run a Focus Sash at a Pokemon that has like a decent amount of bulk, but not a ton of bulk. And the Focus Sash is like, there's a lot of Pokemon that want a Focus Sash right now. So I was very disappointed in it. But you can see that a couple different people made day 2 with it, and so it saw some success at the very least.
Dude, I'm looking at the stats now. I did not realize how tragic they are. It's got a 108 attack stat. That's like not even that juiced. It's like passable, and then it's got the 100
Don't look at the
special
base
attack.
power on its moves.
Yeah, you got to have base power moves over 100 base power if you're gonna have an attack stat like that. This is a
It's
bit
got the
tough to
broken
see.
ability. It can sort of hang on damage,
Yeah.
but
I will say though, I saw the Ceaseless Edge on the set, and obviously everyone that plays or knows singles, of course, will know about that move. But for those that don't know, that's the one that sets up spikes, and that's like kind of cool into a format that has like not as many Sash Pokemon as maybe like a GS Cup format, but like if they have that Sash Sneasler in the back or Sash anything else, and they just have to come in and just lose their item because you clicked a attacking move early in the game, like that sucks. That's cool. Wait, this move is only 65 base power?
Yup.
you weren't supposed to
Wait,
look at it.
what?
Yeah.
I thought this move was like 90 power. So is Stone Axe 90 or is it also weak?
Stone X is also very weak.
What? Oh, they're both just the same.
It's so sad.
Okay, yeah, no.
They pre-nerfed this guy. I don't know why. They could have just made this guy good. This is a brand new
They
Pokemon.
gave both of them sharpness.
But like, just if they made Ceaseless Edge 80 power, like I'd consider using the Pokemon. Like really, it just needs like a little bit more damage to push it over to viable. But
I was gonna recommend Night Slash, and I didn't realize that Night Slash is only 5 base power on it. So like, yeah, you might as well take the one with a cool secondary effect. But that's tough. Oof. And 90 accuracy. Yes. Like that is really tough.
yeah.
You weren't supposed to look.
No.
All right, Alex.
I mean, yeah. What's that?
What do you do you have any teams that you want to highlight, that you want to talk about for this tournament?
Let me take a quick look because I thought there might have been one that we missed. Somebody did talk about the Slacking team, but it finished 6-4, so I don't think it was quite cutting it. I think, like, I personally still think that strategy is dog, but people keep trying it. So.
I thought I saw a Moxie boosted video where he was saying this was the shit. And I don't know if it's the same mod or not, but it's got some believers.
Oh, isn't he supposed to say that something's the shit just so that people will click the video?
That's true. That's true. He does that. He's a little
Is
biased.
he supposed to say wheezing slacking is ass? Click this video. Like
that's true. Yeah,
that's gonna be that's the title of our video on it, Adi. We're just gonna be like, don't use this archetype. We sometimes I've seen like sometimes Blunder or Pokegame will put out a video like that. Like we used this Pokemon and couldn't win a game or something like that. And it's like
I used it so you don't have to.
Yeah, that's always the good one. Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about the 35th place team, Audio. Of all them, I just want to make I want to point out Ninetales as a Pokemon that I saw in a coaching session earlier last week, I guess. And it was just like looking pretty impressive. It's not quite the like you can't use it to counter rain, like just switching it in recklessly on some of those Pokemon. It's still going to take a little too much damage, but fast Icy Wind at its speed stat, on top of having Encore. I think Encore is really cool at that speed stat too. I was thinking instead of Light Clay, you just take your 5 turns of Veil and run Covert Cloak. And then Covert Cloak Encore can just be such a menace for teams that want to be spamming Fake Out to do something or Protect to reposition. There's a lot of teams that are doing stuff like that, and Fast Encore is just really neat on a Pokemon that also has a pretty cool typing. I think you're probably doing yourself a disservice by not running the Fairy move, but this team also has a Primarina, so I guess I kind of get it.
Okay. All I'm saying is,
I guess Ninetales is a pretty decent response if the rain teams start cutting their steel moves.
True.
Yeah. I think that screens are low key like pretty good in this format. It's just that you can't use passive Pokemon to do it. And Ninetales is the Pokemon that does it with like click screens. First off, only takes 1 turn, which is awesome, and then also like does something a little more proactive. Freeze Dry is disruptive. It hits a lot of Pokemon in this format, especially again Primarina, Rillaboom being everywhere, chunks those guys. The Dragon types chunks into Rain. It's really good. Icy Wind is a really good move, and it is like the speed it's close to the speed ceiling in the format. So yeah, and then Encore is super disruptive. So I just think that like if you're running screens, I think it's like this or Whimsicott really, and obviously this guy. It has the weakness of you can't do it in front of other weathers, and being fast is sometimes a detriment when you are in when you're in weather wars. But not every team's gonna have rain. Not every team's gonna have T-Tar, and when they don't, and even when they do have rain, this guy is so strong. So yeah, big fan of Ninetales.
Mm-hmm. Cool guy.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to set up.
Maybe you're just trying to freeze dry a Pelipper switch in and clear that guy out for your Volcarona.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah,
that's the thing.
Especially because it dies to the snow chip, right? After
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I just think like setting up screens and then getting a Swords Dance off with Garchomp or getting a QD off with Volcarona is just very, very hard to beat. So I'm definitely a fan of this type of style of play. And it's cool to see it continue into this format. Yeah. So the one other tournament, I think we kind of wrapped up our conversation about this tournament. There's obviously a lot of cool teams that you can look at. It's all on Victor's page. Definitely recommend that you dive into whatever team that you're more interested in. Again, there's just some other cool choices, but we can't go over everything. But what I do want to talk about is the other tournament that happened this weekend, real quick, which is the Ninopokebros Invitational. And so obviously, didn't have Wolfie playing, didn't have Agati playing or anything like that. But the thing about this tournament is that one, it's on Limitless, which means we have every team and we have data on it from the metagames, which I really like looking at. But also every single player in this tournament is pretty good at the very least. They're very accomplished. They have done consistently well enough to make it to the Invitational. And so the baseline level of play is very high, which makes it so much more impressive that 2 players went 9-1, and their only losses were to each other. And so I want to highlight these 2 teams because no matter what, like that is always so impressive to see. And so yeah, we see, and also at least one of those teams is very innovative. I'm sorry, Alex, it is a Dozo team, but
yeah, no, they lose all credibility. I don't care if you're running Frostmoth and all those other guys. Like you threw it all out when you signed up to use Dundozo. I'm sorry. Man, slightly reminiscent of the team that was used in Regulation E, I think. The one with like Iron Hands and Glimora Dozo. At the end of the day, it still seems kind of like toxic debris, like stall type stuff with Dozo. And the double screens from Ninetales making Dozo just super unkillable. But they got a Frostmoth while they're doing it, so at least they look kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Yeah, no. Specs Blizzard hits hard, and apparently Frostmoth is the way to do it.
Yeah. I like it. I think I was talking up Frostmoth in our tier list, so I'm always happy to tell people that it's good, even though this is not the way that I expect people to be using it at all. It's cool to see it do well. And then the other team that I think actually won the tournament, I want to say, actually won the tournament, even though they lost to Nadir in Swiss. They managed to win the run back in top cut. Is a little more standard, but also like this is a core that I think that we're going to see a lot more of. I think that we talked about this with respect to Agati's team, but Talonflame Goldengo is just like one of the strongest things that you can be doing. Clicking Tailwind specs Make It Rain it is probably better than Murkrow by nature of Talonflame just being a better Pokemon than Murkrow, although Murkrow hazing off Make It Rain boost is really strong. And then this time, instead of relying on something like a Dendozo, it's relying on Garchomp, which is cool because now you can not only Tailwind Make It Rain, but you can also Tailwind Earthquake, and that is also a pain in the butt for teams to deal with. And you have to maybe you have to bring your Rillaboom into the Talonflame, which is a very awkward place to put your Rillaboom. And so I think that this team is also looks very, very potent as well. And it's just a different kind of construction than what we've seen do well in Victory Road.
I think looking at this and some of the stuff that we saw in Victory Road, my takeaway is it was a good weekend for Assault Vest Etar. That mon seems to be pretty solid right now.
I'll continue to disrespect that guy, but
Dang,
congrats
tough.
to the people who did well with
Real. Honestly, that's real.
Yeah, we absolutely stand Limitless. I did not know how they Patreon page. I will check that out. But yeah, those were the two tournaments that I think I really wanted to cover this week. Obviously, next week we'll have a chance to talk about Baltimore regionals, which is going to be really exciting. The first regional. I think that I'm curious if players were holding back a little bit in this tournament because, especially American players, because they had a regional to go to, and if you have something that's super secret and really, really strong, maybe you don't show it off in Victory Road, right? So
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some people come with some brand new innovations. I would be shocked if Wolfie rolled up with his team to his hometown regional. I think he's probably cooked some special up, which is why he used something that is a little blander this week. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people come out of it. And yeah, let's talk about Baltimore. So Baltimore. So what do you guys know about Baltimore? Any notable things about Baltimore?
Yeah.
it's a real close to Washington D.C.
There's the bridge, but we don't have to talk about the bridge, Adi.
It took us a lot of restraint to not put the bridge and Archaludon together in the meme. I'm really proud of ourselves.
Yep.
But you know what? I want to highlight my meme because I thought it was really good, but it is very, very in the weeds. Let me tell you about Baltimore. So the second most notable thing about Baltimore, other than the bridge, is that they used to have a football team called the Colts, right? And the Colts wanted to leave Baltimore, and the mayor of Baltimore was like, "No, we're going to use eminent domain to keep you here." And so before that passed, they literally had to sneak out of the city at midnight. They put them all in these big shipping containers, all their equipment, everything, and they shipped them off to Indy, which is how we have the Indianapolis Colts nowadays. They used to be the Baltimore Colts, and of course, a little later, the Baltimore got the Ravens, which is their current football team. But just like how the Colts had an exodus from Baltimore, we also see the horses leave and hopefully do not return to Baltimore, and so the Calrexes are gone. Hence the very hence the very, very esoteric meme that I wanted to post. So yeah, those are the things I know about Baltimore. Alex, you have a story about Baltimore. You want to tell your Baltimore story?
I've told my Baltimore story too many times, but I do not want to go back to Baltimore. It's part of the reason that I didn't go to this regional. Not just because it's inconvenient, but because that place was a little scary. I've got a bit. I've got to see some roaches, some rats, and I got to get second at the tournament that happened after going to Baltimore. So maybe I should go back to Baltimore. Anyways, let's talk about the actual tournament here,
Yeah.
though.
So one other thing I want to
So
highlight before we jump into the
yeah.
tournament is that again, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but Gaming Generations is organizing this, and this is their first time, I believe, organizing a regional. So it's always interesting to see Pokemon reach out to new tournament organizers. I was told that they have a long history in Smash Bros. At the very least, and I think that Chris Brown, who is the how to play Pokemon, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the positions are, but he's up there, and I know he also has a background in Smash Bros. So it's interesting to see them be brought in. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see how this tournament runs. I'm not going to be there, but that's something that we've had some frustrations with at, like, for example, Los Angeles regionals last year. So I'm really hoping that this is a step in the right direction as well.
Okay, so this thing is called Tub Takes, right? And I want to fire some shots based on what we're seeing in the Twitch chat here. Talking about, like, if you aren't bringing Arch Gold or Gambit, sign the slip and go watch the Ravens play. Um, it's the shots are being fired at Morsi, actually, for that tweet saying, like, I called it, guys. Like, the all three of the steel types made finals. Like, I was saying these guys are going to be good. Like, I don't think that's that crazy of a take. I'm sorry, Lucy. Like, what? We've known since the format came out that these three Pokemon are very good. Goldango, Archaludon, and King Gambit. Like, everyone is saying that they're good Pokemon. So, like, I don't know. They
I
just
mean, you're
didn't.
not wrong. I can give you
Yeah,
that.
it's like Reg G rolled up and you say, like, okay, I think the Calyrex Pokemon are going to be really strong, and um, like, I don't know.
If you got the
I
ride on, that would have been reasonably impressive. That guy was getting slept on, and then it like won worlds. Like that was a
Mhm.
pretty impressive call. If you nailed Miraidon being like top tier at the start of the format. Uh, People really weren't saying that, but it would have been
Mhm.
impressive. But yeah, no, uh, that is the driest take.
Yeah, it's just super dry. I'm sorry, Larcy. Like, it's just you don't need to hype up calling three very easily projectably good Pokemon good. Like, I don't know. Um, like a cooler take would have been saying, like, maybe like Guts or Saluna is better than Blood Moon, because I think that's what we saw at VR over the past weekend. But I don't know if that'll stay that way. But there were three before the highest Blood Moon. Actually, three in top 8 for the regular Guts Bear, and then 0 in top 8. But Blood Moon right there at 9. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know if I have any good takes like that besides maybe like Electabuzz, but me and Ani made our tier list very late anyways, so hard to say. Um,
I'm gonna say this just for the thumbnail. This is gonna be the thumbnail. All jokes aside, please bring one of Amoonguss, Sneasler, or what was the other poison type?
Glamora.
Glamora
Glamora.
to
Glamora
the
was
tournament. Please bring a poison type to Baltimore.
Apparently it's
Glamora
time.
was popping on like it outplaced its usage super hard. So
Hmm.
like Glamora was the biggest takeaway.
No, like Amoonguss
Hmm.
also outplays its usage super hard. It was the
It
highest
really did.
it was the highest conversion rate, or one of the highest conversion rates in the tournament as well. And we talked about Sneasler too. Like, I really do think that the poison types are really good right now.
Is Hisuian Typhlosion good or overrated?
Um, both. Is that
That's
is
a
that
good question. Probably yeah.
are they
I like that
mutually
answer.
exclusive? Like, it is a very good Pokemon. It is the strongest, like, hardest hitting spread move user, which is a niche that it definitely has. But it also is facing a reasonably hostile metagame with a lot of fire and water types and a lot of rain and sand setters. And so, yeah, it's like it's not going to be easy to position, but it's going to be. I think there's going to be a really strong Typhlosion archetype. It's going to be around.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that I agree with them in that it's just like it's not a Pokemon I'm ever going to sleep on. Like, told a story earlier about how we clicked Sunny Day, Terrafire, Eruption, and the T-Tar switched in and got 2 KO'd. Like, it was an AV T-Tar. Like, that's supposed to be your special attack counterplay. I know that its weather got disrupted, but, like, god damn it, it's still wearing an assault vest and resists fire. And that wasn't enough. Like, it is got a pretty solid speed tier for the strength of the move that it's spamming. So it does take a bit of dedication to make that Pokemon pop off. You have to have a couple of tools on the team to make it work that well, but it's worth specking towards because of how powerful the payoff can be. Um, we'll see though. It wasn't even in the top 30 in usage, so I do find that a bit interesting for VR. But yeah, talking about people though, I think this is like a 700 person something tournament. Is last I heard. I think the page here on Victory Road is not showing the number, and I'm not signed up, so I can't tell you. If anybody's in there, could let me
It's
know.
it's currently 776 registered, so about 700 is a pretty good estimate. It might be like
Hmm.
high 600s after lower age divisions and then niches.
So yeah,
Yep, that
notably,
sounds right.
I saw people complaining about that. I think I saw Geo complaining about this on Twitter today. You can't get a refund. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the no-show rate is higher than normal because people can't drop out and then more people can't take their slots. And so we've had a relatively low no-show rate this last year because of that. That might not be the case at this tournament. We're going to see.
I think with how these tournaments have been filling up and the change to the invite system, it feels like the tournaments are filling up a bit more. I've definitely seen more people this season. I know we're only like 2 regional signups in, but more people sign up to tournaments that they aren't even certain they're going to, just to lock in that spot in case they decide to. I've been seeing that more lately than I have normally, and this is for 2 tournaments that are no refunds, which is unfortunate.
And I hate that because for two reasons. The first is that, and I was complaining about this to some Pokemon staff actually at Hawaii, was that it really sucks when Pokemon does all this. They advertise their regionals, they make a big deal out of celebrating the city that they're in, the location that they're in, and locals find out because they spend all week like advertising it, and they're like, well, actually, it's entirely sold out. You cannot attend. You cannot see what's happening. It happened in New Orleans, and I felt really bad. And it happened in it didn't exactly happen in New Orleans, but like it always just like, oh yeah, you just heard about this. That's tough. You should have signed up 3 months ago. And I would love to see more slots open up at the last minute, even reserving 50 slots for the week before the tournament or something. It kind of sucks because like people are gonna like book flights and bank on getting those last 50 slots, but really I'd like those last slots to go to locals who find out about the tournament. I think that's very important. Yeah, that's the main thing. But the other thing is that one of the things that I'd like to see is people go to tournaments when they're at their best. And so we have a friend. I don't want to name names because I don't know if they want this revealed. But like they're basically like, yeah, like I've got a team that I'm super confident in. Except guess what? Sacramento is the next tournament you can sign up for. Louisville is fully booked and this is fully booked. And so if you are playing this format starting September 1st and you are you find a team that you are super confident about, there is so much money on the line. You should be flying out to the next regional, right? If you are locked in, you are confident, you should be going to the next regional. And instead, you can't. You just can't. You have to sign up way in advance, and that means that some people are going to sign up and be like, oh, like I wish I didn't sign up. I can't play in this tournament, or I'm just like not feeling like playing Pokemon right now. I'm just burnt out or whatever. But they're still stuck. They're signed up. And people who really want to play in the tournament, who are feeling really confident, might have to wait until the next tournament that is like 2 months later. And at that point, teams get outdated. The metagame changes, stuff like that. And I just want to see people go to tournaments when they're at their best, and this really discourages that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is
Yeah, I
it's
agree
a
with all
bit of a
that.
weird spot. It's just like some of the pains that we've been feeling for over a year now, with how like the game's growth doesn't quite match what we're seeing at the tournament levels. They just like always having such limited slots, unfortunately. But yeah, so we know the numbers now, and so if it's going to be around there, that will mean that it's going to be 8 rounds day 1 with 3 rounds day 2. We're at the over 500 something. What's the power of 2 there? Is it 512? Um,
512 is.
uh, yeah. So we're likely going to be in that range, and yeah, going to be a great event to spectate. If you're not playing it, I'll be at home spectating this one for sure.
Alex, are we going to restream it?
Maybe it's a maybe for me. I'm seeing now. I'm chatting while we're doing the middle of the thing, and it turns out there might be Sunday plans. So I don't know, man. We'll see. But anyways,
Well,
but yeah.
this
Go ahead.
normally I'm totally down to restream it. Although I'm looking at the casters, and this is a stacked roster. We got we got Aaron, we got Necro, we got Scott, we got Dewey, we got Gabby, we got some of the best casters that TPCI has to offer for this tournament. So this should actually be a banger tournament to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking at that list and I'm pretty hyped. It's missing my goat Joe Brown, but of course you can't get everyone in there. There's already so many good names, so very exciting. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if there's anything else to say about the tournament structure or anything. And so now it's time to talk about the history.
Yeah.
So yeah, Adi's got it here pulled up, and I think the farthest back I went was 2016. I think there's been some other tournaments in nearby areas going further back, of course, but you got to draw the line somewhere. So going all the way back to 2016.
I'm surprised you got the geography right. This is all the tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States, except for, I guess, Pittsburgh is
No,
sort
I
of
didn't
that.
get this. I didn't get this, Adi. You weren't reading the chat. Burns helped me do this, man. I definitely would not have gotten this on my own.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. So first up, we got Philly Regionals, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Baltimore, about a 2-hour drive. And it's my goat. It's Ken winning this regional.
Dude, I miss Ken.
The inventor of blind hypnosis.
Nobody watching this right now, unless like there's like probably like 3 people in chat who know Ken, and if you know Ken was awesome. But Ken is not playing anymore, so you guys will not see. We're not going to be smart moneying Ken.
But we will see Chuppa there, we will see Joshua there, and we will see Nails there as well. So
It's me.
Even though it was 8 years ago, we still got most of Top Cut. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Brady was there, and James was there, and Toller was there, and I know Jeremy's going. So yeah, wow, that's all. The rest of Top Cut is going to be showing up.
That's awesome. That is a great start to the history segment when you have that. And this is the oldest one. This is the farthest back we go. So I feel like there's no shot this happens again for 2017. Let's have a quick look.
Oh, hey, look, it's me. Okay, we can stop
That's
the
true.
regionals after this too. But like these two are good.
There's a couple of names in there that I'm not certain they're going. But we do have Rajan and Trailer down there running the same team. Could they perhaps be teaming up again? We'll see. I don't actually think they teamed up for that one, by the way.
The last time they were in the same team, they did pretty well, right? So it might happen again.
Yeah.
It keeps working out for them for whatever reason. All it takes is Rajan actually running a good team at a tournament, and he does well. What do you know? So I think again, I don't know about Robbie. I don't know about Kazuki. I don't know who Cameron and Jake are. Sorry, I started playing after this, but yeah, I imagine the rest of these players are going to be at this tournament.
Cameron Swan is Drizzle Boy, and Jake Hockmeyer is an Ohio local. He's been around he's still around occasionally, I think.
Who is Nick Navarre though? Never heard of him.
Good question.
All right, and so the next one is the first regional of the 2019 season was also Philadelphia Regionals, and this was won by none other than Justin Burns.
Another good smart money pick because this one is not going. So yeah, Justin, I confused it a number of times. I was like, Justin's definitely going to this one, right? No, he's just not. So,
and I don't think Andrew's going.
Justin won't be there.
I don't think Angel's
Probably
going.
not there either. No, I don't think Angel will be there in spirit.
In spirit for sure. And then I don't know about Michael. I don't think Kruba and Anosha are not going. I imagine Kyle is going, and I don't know about Brian because he is a local, but also I know he hasn't been having a lot of fun playing Pokemon right now. He's been going through some stuff. So
wait, this actually might be the biggest whiff in terms of attendees. Holy shit!
Yeah, it might just be Kyle.
Like, goddamn. Yeah.
No, Brian Dungan is going to be there.
Yeah, that would make sense. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Right. So
2018 Roanoke Regionals, and this was won by Dylan Salvanera using was this what he was on? I thought he was something different.
No, he was on Charizard. This is just wrong.
Okay, this is the wrong team. I was like, I remember this finals. Yeah, he was on Sard. But yeah, so Dylan won this tournament. Yankin was a DC local while I lived in DC. I don't know if he still plays or not. I know this was his first regional, and he got second place, which is pretty cool to see. And then James Beck, Brian, J-Rod is not going to be... I think might be spectating, but he's not going to be playing at the very least. Then Chuppa and Ashton are probably going to be... I think are going to be playing. I don't know about Andrew, but he's an older player. Mm-hmm. I don't think he plays anymore. But... Yeah, so this one actually might see some people show up, and Dylan of course had this crazy run of consistency last year. He's getting like top 32 at basically every regional, and then I don't know if he top cut any of them. He might have top cut one. I think he might have top cut Vancouver. But yeah, he had a super consistent season. So wouldn't be shocked to see him do well again here. But let's see if he can actually have a breakout performance like he did in 2018.
Man, I cannot get over a 2016 one. Like every single other year has had like a lot more holes, and 2016 of all years just had like an insane. I guess if you were playing 2016, it was because you liked VGC. That's the lesson
Yeah,
I'm
no.
learning from
So
that.
people have just been saying a lot of this time that 2016 was really one of the most skill expressive formats we've ever had.
No, what I mean is that.
Like,
Damn it, Nick. Never
So
mind.
okay, so here's the
a
thing.
lot of consistency in that format.
I'm gonna say this Richmond Regionals 2019. It says 99 players, which means that we did not get top 32 CP. The kicker was 100 players, and this is the hardest event that I've ever been to. People make fun of these post Worlds Ultra Series events, but if you're playing Pokemon Ultra Series on Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon in November of 2019, you are a fucking sweaty ass motherfucker. I'm sorry. Like you are trying too hard. And I was there, and I swear this was like literally every single person at this tournament was going for a Worlds invite. It was and you look at the names of players who top cut. I mean, this is a who's who of East Coast players. And then also, of course, Nils, who is also an Atlantic Coast player, I guess, to some extent. My favorite American, Nils Sunloff. And so
He does have the flag.
the greatest Swedish American player of all time, sadly. But yeah, so so this is a really tough regional. I don't think Nils is going to be in attendance this time, but I think almost everyone else will be.
Yeah, this is a very stacked cut. But anyways, yeah, I think we've only gotten one more after that one, and that was the regional in Baltimore of the fall of 2022. Yeah, actually, that was TCG only. I linked it anyways, just so that we would open it.
I do think Pittsburgh 23 kind of counts in the same area, but that's kind of up for debate. We don't have to talk about it. But yeah, that is the history of it. And so now we're gonna do some smart money. Who do we think is going to win the regional? Who do you think is going to overperform this regional? And of course, Nails, you get first pick.
Oh, I get first pick.
Yep.
Shoot. Let's let's give me some time to think about this one.
All right.
I was not ready for smart money. I've been stressing over Calc is right.
All right, Alex. All right, what you got?
I'll jump in and I'll take the first pick while we give Nick some time to think. And yeah, actually, mine is already mentioned in. Wait, why are we guessing John Who? John Who's back in Japan. My guess has already been mentioned in chat though, but I was gonna grab Luca if it was uncontested. So I've been seeing Luca playing recently, and yeah, I'm convinced that King Gambit is like back. Like technically, it was legal throughout a lot of those other formats. Adi, keep trying. You'll get it eventually. Oh, I see. But King Gambit's so back. Like, come on. I think that Luca is a great pick. I have a backup pick. I had two backup picks in case, I guess, the worst happened. I don't even know. But Nails, are you ready now or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna slam unknown player out of nowhere. Drew Brown takes the regional.
Drew Brown. Okay, is this? Can you explain this one? Because I actually don't even know who Drew Brown is.
Sure. They
Is he a
are.
football player? Are they related to Joe?
Here, I'll link their history in text for voice real quick. There's the link. Howdy.
What?
I can pull it up.
They're a Northeast player who has been working with me some, and like they got started middle of yeah, San Antonio was their first regional, and generally solid results. And then really really hated Reg G, and so they're back for an East Coast regional in a format, and they've been doing pretty well. So
Don't we actually know who Silent Lions was? Wasn't Silent Lions Arubega?
I don't know.
Mishi is going to win somehow. Yeah, I would pick MDB too if he was going.
Dude,
He
he
would
was.
have been my smart money if uh the registration was still open, but
Yep.
Yep.
it is
Yep.
not.
All right.
All right,
I
Adi, over to you.
I am going to be Mr. Boring. I am picking the player who is actually going to win the regional. I'm picking Wolfie. I mean, listen, I saw the team he ran. That team, that VR team, that was not a good team, and he ran it because and he did so well because he is Wolf Glick, and that means that he has something secret, and I hope it doesn't have a photograph on it. I hope he's figured that part out. But like if I think that given his performances at regionals, and especially given this is his hometown regional, essentially, it's hard to pick anyone but Wolf to do really well at this event.
Listen, Avian Iolape is actually just solid, by the way. I had that on my best of one team that I was laddering with like the day before. So I want you to know that not just because Wolf used it first, doesn't mean
Whoa! Wolf didn't use it first.
or didn't use
I
it first.
I used
But,
it
like,
first, and by that I mean I stole it from some Italians who used it first back at NAIC.
Wait, yeah, 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You used it that year.
I wonder if this is still the pinned tweet that I have on my Twitter profile. Yeah, I do actually. Okay, fine. We could talk about this. This is great. I love talking about me. I tried to use data to build my NAIC team, and it came up with AV Annihilate was the broken Pokemon to use into that format, and so yeah, I think I'm a big AV Annihilate believer. I think it's a very cool way of using that Pokemon.
Did you have Final Gambit on it though?
No, we did not.
See, that's the real part. That's the cool part. I love Final Gambit. I love telling my mom to just go die and also take somebody with you.
Yeah.
Um,
did you? Because I heard that Mon kind of sucked and was the worst part of our team. So I don't know.
Well, that was a different thing. But also that part was awesome too. I still loved it, even though it was bad.
All right.
All right, we've got all our smart monies, so I guess it's time for Calc is right then.
Yeah, let's do it. I guess while we're just chatting, give me what you think is the what do you think is winning Baltimore Regionals? What Pokemon or what archetype? Or did smart money?
Probably like Big Steel. I think that a Steel type is going to win the tournament.
Okay.
Perhaps
I'm
a
gonna guess.
Poison type
I'm
as
guessing
well.
a poison type, but dang it, no! All right, you lock in, guys. It's time for Rev of Room. Rev of Room is the best Pokemon in the format. It takes all of the good qualities of the steels, mashes them with the good qualities of the poisons, and Vroom Vroom, you're ready to win. If I were to pick a archetype to win, I'm gonna go with I feel like it's probably time for Dozo to just I feel like it's got to be at its close to its best. I feel like the Dozo players somebody's gonna hit the crazy bracket that dodges all the hard Dozo counters, and the soft Dozo counters are gonna learn that why soft counters aren't enough.
I like that pick. That's a good pick.
What about you?
What, me? I actually really like the Dozo pick, but I was gonna say, so the thing is, the winner is probably gonna be using something boring. I think that whoever figures out Instant Shroom is probably gonna do the best. And I don't think it's the way that Italians did it, but just the fact that they did it with a team that I think is kind of mid goes to show you how strong that archetype is. And so people are going to figure out how to use Instant Shroom, P2, or so, I think, on a better version of the team. And I think that's gonna really break the format wide open. That's my hot take. But also the Pokemon I really want to see do well is Alola Tails. I think that Pokemon has a lot of potential, and I think people are not really using it as much as they should. But I think that guy is gonna overachieve as well.
All right, let's do some Calcus right here. And Nick, you said you were cooking. Does that mean that you have one ready?
It's not cooking exactly. It's just fun calc, and it's a little on topic.
Let's do it.
It's a calc that's definitely come up in games before. Um, but it's just a little different from how Calcazard usually does. So we were hyping up the poison types, and we've got the 4x weak to poison Mon Whimsicott in the format. Sometimes they don't run Protect, sometimes they don't run Sash. So how much does your Amoonguss Clear Smog do to Whimsicott? And we're going the standard covert cloak spread, which is max HP and 4 speed F.
Okay, okay.
So it's just like
I
a
like
real
it.
calc that can come up in
And
games.
then Among Us is 4 or 0 investment?
We're going with calc default, which is 0.
0 investment. Sounds good.
Good. You don't want the forward speed anyways.
Yep. So true. So true. I'm ready to go.
I've got a number 2.
Okay, let's start with Adi.
So I'll be honest, I have absolutely no idea how much it's going to do, but I think it knocks out, and I think it just barely knocks out. So I'm going to go with 112.
Okay, and Alex, what do you have?
About the same close-ish percentage on the other side. I think it doesn't kill. And I was gonna go with 84. I feel like I've seen this one before, and just because it's quad, you think it might do it, but it just doesn't. I think it just doesn't.
All right. So I pulled it up, and it looks like we're doing 79 to 93. It does not look like it knocks out. Is that right?
That is
Dude.
correct.
I mean, like, if you're talking about nailing a bullseye, let's go. I'm like pretty much in the center there. I don't know what the center of that range was. It's like a little bit higher. It's like 86 or something. But
You got the entire the vibe correct. So nothing else to say.
But if I run like
Um,
max special attack, I always get the knockout. So,
You sure do.
I can combine my Whimsicott check with my Dozo check instead of running Sludge Bomb. All right.
It's also true.
Alex, what do you think? You got a calc?
yeah, and so you're right. There was more than one hammer rot, as they like to call it in the business. So let's look at a hammer rot calc with this newly. We've learned how much base power Ceaseless Edge is. That name is like so much funnier given the like context of online humor as after the game has come out. Ceaseless Edge is just a hilarious name. Anyways, the damage calc I want to see is like, you know what, Adi, can you on the stream here open up calc default Dustclops? I don't know what it is, but let's just run into that one. I wanted to calc into Dustclops.
252, sassy. So it's got 4 defense.
Special, yeah, let's do it. We're just gonna have 4 defense.
Oh, okay.
And this is Sash Adamant Ceaseless Edge, and it hit. It didn't miss. You hit your Ceaseless Edge on the Dustclops. How much is it doing this with your Hammer Rot? Of course, we are Sharpness.
Yeah, I've got a number.
I've got a number.
All right, you guys know your Dustclop calcs. Let's start with Nick this time.
Yeah, so Cecil Edge has the funny name. Let's pick the funny number. I'm walking in 69.
All right. It
Yeah,
sounds pretty good.
That's real close to what I had. I was, the thing about Hisui and Samurott is whatever you think it's gonna do, like it does 25% less. And so like my brain is like, oh, this is a super effective move. It gets sharpness. It's got to do 90. So no, it's doing less than that. I had a 65 as my number.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go and plug it in.
Do you know the calc? You want to take a guess, Alex?
I don't know the calc, and I was gonna go probably around the same range, but I'll go even low. No, I'll go in the higher end. I'll grab 75.
All right.
I'll say that you both undersold it a little bit, just because this Dustclops has no defense investment, so maybe.
And it does 58.5 to 70.7.
Well, that's why I wasn't playing on this one. You guys actually nailed it. Let's go. That's actually awesome. Yep. Really well done. It was also like 2 not very meta Pokemon, and they got the calc, guys. This is like what. I don't know. It's kind of like a real skill to have in VGC. Is just like damage sense. I've been talking about it a lot in coaching sessions where people are like, how do you know how much like damage is something going to do? And it's just like from playing so many different formats over countless years. Like you just kind of get a sense for, I don't know. It's like almost like impossible to explain in my opinion, but play enough Pokemon and you'll get there.
I feel like I'm consistently the worst at calc is right. My internal calcs are awful. I've also played the least Pokemon out of everyone here, but not by that much. I had the benefit of having run calcs with Hisui and Samurott and being consistently disappointed.
I think the worst guest we've ever had was Paul Chua. Paul Chua, just worst guest in overall, not at Calc is right. Just like he was a terrible guest. No, I meant at Calc is right. Paul Chua was terrible. Also points to the recent one with NJ, where I feel like he said the low kick was going to do 600%, and it did like less than 100. It did like 40 to 80 or something like that. I don't remember the number, but we were like low kicking a Chi-Yu. And he just really misunderstood how much that's supposed to do. That was a really bad guess one, but I think Paul Chua, for like as strong of a player as he was like super bad as Calc is right.
Ah, man.
All
right. Paul not doing what a +6 boost
Paul
was.
didn't know what a
yes.
+6. Yeah.
Yes, that is the craziest thing to me.
Like, you look at these people and you're like, how can you win multiple regionals and not know these basic knowledge things that I know? Why can't I have that many wins?
All right.
Okay.
Gotta be good at what the regionals are testing.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we get a multiple choice regional, I'm gonna win this thing.
Oh, you like the 50/50s?
God damn it.
All right.
What's your Calc, Adi?
All right. So I have a Calc as well. That I really like that Drift Limit DD team, and I have not run any in DD Calcs, but I'm curious. It's got to do damage, and it's got to do damage with the move that it really wants to click, which is Terra Blast, I guess, Terra Fighting Terra Blast. So let's see how well you know your Terra Fighting Terra Blast in DD Calcs. It's choice specs, it's max special attack, it's modest, male in DD, using Terra Fighting Terra Blast into the main, I guess, normal type in the format, which we're just gonna say Ursaluna Blood Moon with 252 HP and 4 SPDEF. Can a DD do enough with that?
Okay, I'm ready. I've got my number. I think I know all the circumstances you've laid out here. My one quick question will be: was this? You said it was modest, right?
It is modest. Yes.
And was it modest on the Ursaluna?
Yeah, it's yeah, sure. No, actually, quiet Ursaluna.
Good question.
We're running Trick Ursaluna at mid speed. All right. Alex seemed really confident, so I'm gonna go with Nils.
I'm going to 115.
115. Alex, what do you think?
I had more. I had 130. Like, I don't know. You picked like a very low SPDEF Pokemon. Wait, sorry. Which Blood Moon you said it was Blood Moon, right?
Yeah, Blood Moon.
Yeah, it's Blood Moon.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's doing like 130. This is super effective on the special attack side where choice specs, stab, like I think it just hurts.
I would hope it KOs at the very least.
Do you think that a Focus Blast from Specs and DD would would do 130 to a Blood Moon? Because that's the same
question.
damage.
Good way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
All right,
yeah, it's just a Specs Focus Blast.
The 252-4 SPDEF, and yeah, Alex, you are right on the money.
Okay, it was going to do 130.
122 to 145.
Dude, I don't know. I'm on it today. I'm just on it today.
So the other one I was curious about was Expanding Force, because I figured Expanding Force wasn't going to kill, but it looks like actually Expanding Force also is a roll to pick up. Doing 89 to 105. So yeah. And DD does hit really hard. I guess you don't even need to click. You probably do need to click Terra Blast unless you really want to take that force it to take some life orb chip.
Dude, I didn't even see Sea-Dog picked the same number as me. I swear Sea-Dog and I are like super in sync today because you've picked the same smart money as me, and like I think 2 of these damage calcs we said the same numbers. Like, what the heck? I'm actually just reading chat and using your
suggestions. This one is that I didn't fully appreciate that it was modest. He said it, and I just I had Timid and DD in my brain. So
no, this was modest Blood Moon, Nick. We said that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you have the Drifloom on your team, you always get Tailwind up. So why would you need to be timid? Just go modest.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just explaining how I was wrong.
All right. But yeah, with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up. So if you missed part of this and you want to check out the full VOD, it's gonna be up on YouTube tomorrow morning. ! YT in chat. So we'll have that up. Make sure to subscribe. I am so close to 5,000 subscribers, and me, Nails, and I think Raghav have sorry, Nails. Actually, I forgot. I kicked you off for Raghav for the 5K sub special, but it's gonna be me, Raghav, and ESM doing some fun stuff with comparing BGC players to basketball players. me nails and
Oh
ESM.
God,
We're just
dude, you're finally doing that.
we're finally
Oh
doing it. We
God.
gotta get to 5K subs, but Nick and Michael just spent all day at Worlds just comparing VGC players to basketball players. So I think that's gonna be a really fun stream, and Raghav wanted to be part of it because he is also a huge basketball fan. So yeah,
That
so
is so
you
funny.
aren't subscribed, go subscribe. Make sure to do that. I've got some cool content coming out. And I've got some cool team reports from Worlds that are going to be released later on before Regulation G starts again. So look forward to that. It's going to be a good time. And yeah, I think with that, we're going to send you over to who is streaming right now. Looks like Tapa Wapo is streaming. You want to send us over there?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Our favorite hard trick room enthusiast in a format. Man, I had some we had some friends who like hard trick room, and they're like, "Do I really want a hard trick room right now?" It's like, bro, you have run hard trick room when it is at its worst. Please run this stupid side spam shit while it's actually good. So I think Tapa Wapo is gonna be doing that. So we're gonna send you over there. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in.
Peace out, peeps.
Peace.